Hi, I'm Dangle.
And I'm Dot, and we're together daring to do dementia
We
different.
are.
In today's video, we're going to give our lived wisdom and stick with us to the end because we're going to walk you through the potential steps of getting a diagnosis,
You mean the patience part and the perseverance part?
the pitfall
The
part.
pitfall and the warm and fuzzy that you might have done it really well. How about that?
Yes, and the reason why I think that you're doing so well is because you went through those steps to get yourself a really good diagnosis, one that supports your well-being and your family's well-being.
And the way I feel about being treated.
So, when you're experiencing memory changes, what should happen is you might go to a primary care physician, and somebody may give you one of these annual fun
Have you ever seen that?
memory screening tests where they ask you to draw the clock.
Yeah.
How was the clock draw?
Oh, wow. You know, probably will never forget that.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it. The circle wasn't circled, right? The numbers were all jagged. And the hands on the clock, first time couldn't do it. 10 after 2 or 10 to 2, I don't know. And I look back at that and I was devastated down to the ground.
Yeah.
Today I look at that, hey, don't worry about that.
Actually, you're drawing it better now.
I am drawing it better now, 12 years later.
12 years later, you practice.
I've practiced.
From the other side, working in the clinical field, I've heard people say, what is it with that clock draw and the, spatial things, remembering the words, the animals you have to. It's actually a very sensitive test, not to diagnose what you have, but that there's
It's
something
signs.
going on spatially with your brain.
Over here, or
memory.
over here, or over here, depending where your brain
Yeah,
is.
and actually it lines up to the different parts of your brain.
Yeah, there
Very
you go.
intuitive. Okay, but you can't stop there. And I've had so many people stop with that test. Oh, I didn't do well. I didn't score well. Okay. Ouch.
Yeah,
that
it
hurts.
is an ouch.
But we got to keep going.
We got to keep going.
Primary care might quickly say, oh, here's the script and come back and see me. No. We say not.
We say not. We say, thank you very much for all you've told me.
This is the first step. Yes. So we're going to take a breath, take a pause, and we're going to pursue this. Okay, what is happening in the brain that we need to learn about? It helps you to learn about.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I think from the care partner perspective, I'm curious. I want to know what's going on with the brain that might cause it not to remember or not be able to navigate in a car or change things that you've always been doing.
You know, remember, this is your health, right? This is my health.
This is our health.
Yes, as a care pair and family and dear friends.
Our point here is don't stop with the first
Right.
answer. We really want to go get some good diagnostics, MRIs, CAT scans, neuropsych tests. Those are very sensitive to finding out what's going on with your loved one. And then together, perhaps a neurologist, that's a good maybe first step, can put all those pieces of your brain puzzle together to say, hey, this part of the brain looks like something's going on. And the blood tests. that can
Right,
help you
and it
out.
makes a difference. What part?
It makes a difference. Is it the back part of the brain? Is it the front part of the brain? Is it the whole brain?
Do I have a brain? I don't know.
They'll confirm that you have one. So, Nancy, I know you went through about 3-4 doctors until
I
you
did.
settled on a specialist.
Yes.
Oh, please, if you can be persistent and have some perseverance to go find a good specialist in the field, because they've seen thousands of brains that are having difficulty.
It's not only that doctor, that specialist is a specialist and he knows, it's does he fit your personality? Does he listen to you? Or is he one of these that his eyes is always off onto the next thing and he really doesn't know I'm sitting in front of him? So
She's-
find your person.
That's one of Nancy's, I think, success, perseverance, persistence, and a little picky for a good reason.
Me?
Yeah. You took ownership
I did take
of
ownership.
your own path here.
You go in to see a doctor maybe for the first time, and you're going to let this person, if you have any vibes that it's not working in the beginning, you're going to let this person dictate what you do and don't do? I don't think so.
But I do still think it's worth it to go and pursue this.
Oh,
I think that,
no question.
I think
No question.
you need to have
Absolutely.
a better grasp, especially caregiver. This is what you might be dealing with. Now, let me tell you, when I talk about patience and persistence, the diagnosis is not easy. It's not a quick blood test, or hopefully we're going to get there one day. It's a lot of pieces, parts put together to give what they think is going on. And it sometimes can take 5 to 7 years.
Can you believe that?
So those are some of the important steps. But the in-between, you're going to be waiting. Waiting for a doctor, waiting for a system.
Waiting for the insurance. There's a lot of waiting.
A lot of waiting.
And you know, that is good time for you to be able to maybe read an article. I mean, you can have a phone in one hand and in another.
Live your life.
Live your life.
Develop a new skill, like poetry. Now, Nancy, she's a great observer of what's going on. She actually wrote a poem about being in a waiting room.
In a waiting room. The name of the poem is I Saw Me. I sat, reticent and quiet, in a doctor's office soft chair, curious about others coming and going, when enters a man and his wife. She was hunched over, following, not really there. They settled directly across from me, of course.
Of course.
I try to refocus on my magazine article, but in one ear softly I overhear. Why am I here? From her lost face and blank stare to her obviously armored husband's ear. We're visiting, he quietly says, no smile anywhere. Not even an eye giving her grace. So I do, though perhaps not my place. So we're all impatient. The person that takes us, ourselves, the doctor who's got the waiting room full. It is a test of time. And Kat and I look at that and say, what can we learn about this time that we have to spend here anyway? So I look at other people and I give them grace and compassion.
Actually, once in the waiting room at the clinic that I worked at, I did see this beautiful couple, and they definitely were connected, and they were arm in arm, and you could see that there was so much love.
Hopefully more often than not, that's what you see. But I was at this doctor's office and I didn't want to be there, right? So I'm looking and waiting and then seeing this poor lady keeping his newspaper held tight. I wonder how hard this is for him. I guess very hard. For sure, I know it's captivatingly difficult, for he's a caregiver. For me to watch and hear, like overhearing a family feud, knowing I have no business listening. I did try to close my ears. And she says, I don't want to be here. She mimics and nudges forward, nearer to him. Silence reigns supreme. No motion he makes to comfort her. Then, tentatively, she looks up to him and snuggles in under his arm and inquires one more time, why are we here? And you know, I imagine he dreaded being there. I get that. I felt that. It was no more fun for him than it was for her.
No.
A tired man, his look of resignation burns deep. The pages he probably doesn't see. Every motion of his body reeks perfunctory. I pretend I do not see, but I do. I feel sorry for him. Or then I think I should shake him. Of course, not my place. Who am I the saddest for? Him, her, or me? I can't help but wonder. I am sure it will be someone who will stop, look, and listen to me as though I matter, should I ever be in a situation like that. I hope so. But you know, he probably was a nice man, and he's just been, patience and persevered out. Suddenly, I've had enough, and I get up to leave. I'm ready to go. even though this is my very favorite doctor of all. And that is saying one heck of a lot, you know. And then I hear, hello, Nancy, come right on in.
It's your turn.
My turn.
And her times in between diagnoses and pursuing things, she did write.
I wrote my feelings.
And her books of poetry, which you can find on our website.
Dangle.com, by the way.
Yes, and it's so interesting now, though. We've evolved since those feelings that you had.
This is 12 years ago.
Yes, you feel so different, probably, even sitting in the waiting room.
Well, I think I write
you?
differently, sure.
Yeah.
Sure, there's no waste of time.
Can appreciate those times in between. Maybe we can look at them differently.
Yes.
You know, like this is your time together. This is time to hold hands. This is time to look each other in the eye and
To
say
be
it's
patient.
going to be okay.
Right.
We're going to be okay.
We're going to be okay.
Okay, no matter what happens.
And we have been so far. Wow.
Yeah, so our wrap up here is that getting a real diagnosis, I call it, it's going to take maybe even a year or more.
And then in that process, time goes by.
What are we going to be doing in the waiting period?
Using the time as best we can.
And what happens, of course, the mind wants to go to the worst case scenarios always. So if we can start focusing, maybe channel your emotions into journaling, we can use that time with our loved ones. Hey, you know, we're going to make the most of every moment.
I think that's the answer, don't you? When you get out of the angst of it and the dread and the, I just can't do this, maybe go inside. Maybe listen to music. Maybe read a sports article that you've been dying to read. Take time for you.
The power of the pause in between. All right, we hope that there was something you felt here valuable, and we don't want you to walk this alone at all.
No, this is a together thing.
A together
and
thing.
And it'll be much better together.
We would appreciate if you like and subscribe. Share it with somebody who also may be experiencing some changes and have a lot of fear around this. All right, we thank you for being here.